So today we are going to discuss about the Dravida or the South Indian temple style. Okay, we had already finished the Nagara style of temple architecture. So today we are going to discuss about Dravida style of temple architecture. So before we begin the chapter, let us quickly see like what are the things that we are going to cover under this chapter. So I'll be just scrolling, okay, from this point till the bottom of the page, just to see what are the things that we will come across. Okay. Okay, so images are there, three images that we will learn. Meenakshi temple at Madurai, then Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, then like this is the general feature of the South Indian temple, then Shore temple at Mahabalipuram, Nandi at Bhubaneswar, at Brahadeshwar, then we will come across Bradeshwar, uh, Bradeshwarar at Thanjavur. Okay, another image, 5 rathas at Mahabalipuram. Okay, then we will learn about the architecture in the Deccan. Okay, so there is one thing which is Kailashnath temple at Ellora. We'll learn about temple at Badami. We'll see the Durga temple at Aihole. We'll see Virupaksha temple at Pattadakal. We'll see Somnathpuram temple. Okay, and we will see the Nataraja at Halebid. Then we will, so after covering that topic, we will see Buddhist and Jain architectural developments. Okay, so this is one thing, Mahabodhi temple at Bodh Gaya. We will see about Nalanda University. Then we will see the sculptural details at Nalanda. Okay, we'll come across excavated site at Nalanda. Okay, the Lakshmana temple at Sirpur. Then this is Lord Bahubali, Gomateshwara, Karnataka. Okay, Jain sculpture at Mount Abu. Then Bilwara temple at Mount Abu. And after then there will be images like Mahabalipuram. Okay, and after then Ravan shaking Mount Kailash. Then we will see carvings on outer wall of Kailashnath temple at Ellora. Okay. Then Lakshmana temple in Khajuraho. Okay. Okay. So this is all. So today we will try to finish only the Dravidian style of temple architecture. Okay. And then we may, later on we may see the Buddhist and Jain architectural developments. Okay. So Dravidian style is not that big topic. So like it can be covered shortly. Okay, so we will start reading this chapter, okay, from here onward. So just a minute. Okay, so from here. So Iram, can you please read the chapter for us?
Sure, sir. The Dravida or the South Indian temple style. I think first we should see the image of the temple so that the text would be more clear. The temple consists of a gopuram, then the mandap, a viman is there, then above the viman there is a shikhar. That's it. And a garbhagraha is also there. So now I'm reading. So unlike the Nagara style temple, the Dravid temple is enclosed within a compound wall. The front wall has an entrance gateway in its center, which is known as Gopura. The shape of the main temple tower, known as Viman in Tamil Nadu, is like a stepped pyramid that rises up geometrically rather than curving shikhar of North India. This is the most distinguishing feature between the Nagara and the Dravidian style. In the South Indian temple, the word shikhar is used only for crowning element at the top of the temple, which is usually shaped like a stupika or an octagonal cupola. This is equivalent to amlak and kalash of the North Indian temple. Whereas at the entrance of the North Indian temples, Garbhagriha, it would be usual to find images such as Mithunas and river goddesses Ganga and Yamuna. In the south, you will generally find sculptures of figures of Dwarpalas or doorkeepers guarding the temple. It is common to find a large water reservoir or temple tank enclosed within a complex. Subsidiary shrines are either incorporated with main temple tower or located as distinct separate small shrines beside the main temple. The North Indian ideal of multiple shikhar rising together as a cluster was not popular in South India. So this is also one of the main distinguishing feature, that the Nagara style consists of multiple shikhars, but the Dravidian does not consist the multiple shikhar. Only one or two, I guess. Only one is there. At some of the most sacred temples in South India, the main temple in which the Garbhagriha is situated has, in fact, one of the smallest tower. This is because it is usually the oldest part of temple. With the passage of time, the population and size of the town associated with that temple would have increased, and it would have become necessary to make a boundary wall around the temple. So this is how a boundary wall is discovered. This would have been taller than the last one, and its gopuram would have been even loftier. So, for instance, the Sri Rangam temple in Tiruchirappalli has as many as seven concentric rectangular enclosure walls, uh, each with gopuram. The outermost is the newest, while the tower right in the center housing the Garbhagriha is the oldest one. The temples thus started becoming the focus of urban architecture. Kanchipuram, Thanjavur or Tajnor, Madurai and Kumbakonam are the most famous temples town of the Tamil Nadu, where during the 8th to 12th century the role of temple has not limited the religious matter alone. The temples became rich administrative center controlling vast areas of land. Just as there are many subdivisions of main type of Nagara style, there are subdivisions also of Dravida style temple. These are basically of 5 different shapes. Square is usually called kuta. Also the chaturasra, a rectangular or shala or ayat, ayatasra, elliptical called gaja prishta or elephant backed, or also called as Vritayata, deriving from wagon vaulted shape of apsidal chaityas with a horseshoe-shaped entrance, facade usually called a nasi, circular or vrita, and octagonal arthashastra. I'm reading this once again. These are basically of 5 different shapes. Square usually called kuta and also katurasra. यानी स्क्वायर होता है, अगर डिफरेंट अगर स्क्वायर उसका शेप तो उसको कूटा भी बोला जाएगा, एंड देन द कतुरासरा. इफ रेक्टेंगुलर को बोलेंगे शाला या अयात्रा. अगर इलेप्टिकल है तो बोलेंगे गजा परिश्ता और एलिफेंट बैक्ड और कॉल्ड एज वृत्याता. So basically Vrityata is derived from a wagon vaulted shape of apsidal chaityas with a horseshoe shaped entrance, facade usually called nasi. Or if a circular hai, so usko bolenge vrita, circular or vrita. And if it is octagonal, that is 8 dimensions, so 8 lines, so it is called as arthashastra, ashtasra. Generally speaking, the plan of temple and the shape of Viman were conditioned by the iconographic nature of the consecrated deity, so it was appropriate to build specific types of temple for specific type of icon. It must, however, be remembered that this is a simplistic differentiation of the subdivisions. Several different shapes may be combined in specific period and placed to create their own unique style. The Pallav were one of the ancient South Indian dynasties that were active in the Andhra region from 2nd century Common Era onwards and moved south to settle in Tamil Nadu. Their history is better documented from 6th to 8th century when they left many inscriptions in stone and several monuments. Their popular kings spread their empire to various parts of the subcontinent, at times reaching the border of Odisha, and their links with Southeast Asia were also strong. Although they were mostly Shaivite, several Vaishnava shrines also survived from the Rhine, and there is no doubt that they were influenced by the long Buddhist history of Deccan. This early building, it is generally assumed, were rock cut while the later ones were structural. However, there is reason to believe that structural buildings were well known even when rock cut ones were being excavated. The early buildings are generally attributed to the reign of the Mahendravarman I, contemporary of Chalukya. Chalukya king, then the Pulakeshin II of Karnataka, which is also a Chalukya king. Pulakeshin II. Pulakeshin II of Karnataka, Narsivarman I, also known as Mamalla, who ascended the Pallava throne around the 640 Common Era, is celebrated for the expansion of the empire, avenging the defeat his father had suffered at the end of Pulakeshin II, and inaugurating the most of the building work at Mahabalipuram, which is known after him as Mamallapuram. Then the Shore temple at Mahabalipuram was built later, probably in the reign of Narasimhavarman II, also known as Raja Simha, who reigned from 700 to 720 Common Era. Now it is oriented to the east facing the ocean, but if you study it closely, you will find that it actually houses 3 shrines, 2 to Shiva and one facing east and other west, and a middle one to Vishnu, who is shown in Anantashayana. So this temple, that is the Shore temple, consists of 3 shrines. 2 is devoted to the Lord Shiva and 1 is devoted to the Vishnu, which is shown as Anantashayana. This is unusual because the temple generally have a single main shrine and not 3 areas of worship. So it is an exception also that only 1 shrine in each temple is there, but the Shore temple consists of 3 shrines. This shows that it was probably not originally conceived like this, and different shrines may have been added at different times, modified perhaps with a change of patrons. So in the compound there is evidence of water tank, an early example of Gopuram, and several other images. Sculptures of the bull, Nandi, Shiva's mount line the temple wall, and these along with the carvings on the temple's lower wall have suffered severe disfiguration due to the erosion by salt water laden air over the centuries. The magnificent Shiva temple at Tanjavur. Now we move to the magnificent Shiva temple of the Tanjavur, called the Raja Rajeshwar or Bridheshwar temple, was completed around 1009 by Raja Chola. Raja Chola was a very powerful king of Chola dynasty, and it is the largest and tallest of Indian temple. The temple building was prolific at the time, and over 100 important temples of the Chola period are in a good state of preservation, and many are more still active shrines, bigger in scale than anything built by their predecessors, the Pallavas, the Chalukyas, or the Pandyas. This Chola's temple, pyramidal multi-storied Viman, Vimana rises a massive 70 meters, approximately to 200 feet. So the Chola dynasty made more tallest temples than any other of the dynasties as compared to Pallavas and Chalukyas and Pandyas. Chola's temple pyramidical multi-storied Viman rises a massive 70 meter, approximately 200 feet, topped by a monolithic shikhar, which is an octagonal domed shaped. It is this temple that one noticed for the first two large gopurs, that is gateway tower with an elaborate sculptural program which was conceived along with the temple. So huge Nandi figures dot the corner of the shikhar and the kalash on the top by itself about 3 meters and 8 centimeters in height. Hundred of stucco figures decorated the Viman, and although it is possible that some of these may have added on during the Maratha period also, and did not always belong to the Chola period. So Maratha kingdom also gave their contribution to these temples. Then the main deity of the temple is Shiva, basically, who is shown as a huge lingam set in a two-storied sanctum. The walls surrounding the sanctum have extended the mythological narratives, which are depicted through painted murals and sculptures. Now moving forward to the architecture in the Deccan. Many different styles of temple architecture influenced by North and South Indian temple were used in regions like Karnataka. While some scholars consider the building in this region as being distinctly either Nagara or Dravidian. Either Nagara or Dravidian, a hybridized style that seems to have become popular after the mid 17th century, also is known in some ancient texts as Vesara. So Vesara is a third modified form of the temple, which is having both of the feature of Nagara and the Dravida both. So by the late 17th or the early 18th century, the ambitious project at Ellora, basically Ellora became even grander. So by about 750 Common Era, the early Western Chalukyas' control of the Deccan was taken up by the Rashtrakuts. So their greatest achievement in architecture is the Kailasha temple at Ellora, a culmination of at least a millennium long tradition in rock cut architecture in India. It is a complete Dravida building with Nandi shrines, since the temple is dedicated to Shiva, a Gopuram like gateway surrounding the cloister, subsidiary shrine, staircase, and an imposing tower or Viman rising to the 30 meters. So, importantly, all of this is carved out of living rock. One portion of the monolithic hill was carved patiently to build a Kailash temple. We are talking about Ellora. So there is one Kailash temple there. The sculpture of Rashtragut face at Ellora is dynamic. The figures often larger than life size, infused with unparalleled grandeur and the most overwhelming energy. In the south part of Deccan, that is in the region of Karnataka, is where some of the most experimental hybrid styles of Vesara architecture are to be found. These are made by Pulakesin I. That is, Pulakesin I established the early Western Chalukya kingdom when he secured the rank around the Badami. Badami was the capital of the dynasties. Land around the Badami in 543. The early Western Chalukya ruled most of the Deccan till the mid 8th century, when they were suppressed by Rashtrakud. So Rashtrakud suppressed the Chalukyas, and Rashtrakud also modified temples in Ellora also. Early Chalukyan activity also take the form of rock-cut caves, while later activity is of structural temple. The earliest is probably the Ravanapadi. The earliest is probably the Ravanapadi cave at Aihole, which is known for its distinctive sculpture style. One of the most important sculpture at the site is of Nataraja, surrounded by larger than life-size depictions of the Sapta Matrikas, 3 to Shiva left and 4 to his right. That's why it is called as Sapta Matrikas, that is 7. Sapta means 7. 3 to Shiva's left and 4 to his right. The figure are characterized by graceful, slim body, long oval faces topped with extremely tall cylindrical crowns and shown to wear short dhotis marked by a fine incised striations indicating pleating. So they are distinctly different from contemporary Western Deccan or Vakataka style seen at places such as Ponar and Ramtik.
Shall I read some portion of it?
Sorry, sir?
Means like, shall I read some portion of it? I mean, like,
हाँ, sure,
you were
sir.
reading
Sure,
for a
sir.
long time.
Sure, sir. I'm not reading from this. I'm reading in my PDF. So maybe there is some changes in your PDF, I think.
No, everything is all right. Same PDF. Okay, there is no difference at all.
Okay.
Right. So, if you want to read further, you can read. If you are a little tired, then I can continue reading.
No, sir. It's all right. Means whatever suits you.
No. So you can read now. Okay, no problem.
From where the hybridization of an incorporation?
Yes.
Okay. But I think there's some lines are missing in my PDF, I guess.
No. Like everything you read, right? You know, the figures are characterized by graceful, slim bodies, long oval faces topped with extremely tall cylindrical crowns, and shown to wear short dhotis marked by fine incised tradition, striations indicating pleating. They are distinctly different from contemporary Western Deccan and Vakataka styles seen at places such as Paunar and Ramtek in Maharashtra.
Okay.
So you read these names, but like you did not
Okay.
read about Maharashtra and Maharashtra.
Yes, sir. So now the hybridization and incorporation of several styles was the hallmark of Chalukyan buildings. The most elaborate of all the Chalukyan temple at Pattadakal made in the reign of Vikramaditya II by his chief queen Loka Mahadevi, for instance, shows complete knowledge of Pallav building at Kanchipuram and as a corollary Mahabalipuram. So the temple is one of the best early example of Dravidian tradition. By contrast, other Eastern Chalukyan temples like the Mahakuta 5 kilometers from Badami and a Swarga Brahma temple at Alampur shows a greater assimilation of the northern style from Odisha and Rajasthan. So at the same time, the Durga temple at Aihole is unique, having an even earlier style of an apsidal shrine, which is reminiscent of Buddhist Chaitya hall and is surrounded by a veranda of a later kind, which with a shikhar that is stylistically like a Nagara one. So finally, mention must be made of Lat Khan temple at Aihole. This seems to be inspired by a wooden roofed temple of rock, except that is constructed out of stone. How then shall we understand these different styles at one place as curiosities or as innovations? Undoubtedly, they are dynamic expression of a creative set of architects who were competing with their peers in the rest of India. So whatever one's explanation is, these buildings remain of great art historical interest. With the waning of the Chola and Pandya, the Hoysalas of the Karnataka grew to prominence in South India and became the most important patrons centered at Mysore. The remain of around 100 temples have been found in South Deccan, though it is only 3 of them that are most frequently discussed. That is, these are the temple at Belur, Halabid and Somnathapuram. So these are the examples of the Hoysalas who are centered over the Mysore, basically. So temples are at Belur, Halabid and Somnathpuram. So perhaps the most characteristic feature of these temples is that they grow extremely complex with so many projecting angles emerging from the previously straightforward square temples that the plan of these temples start looking like a star and is thus known as a stellate plan. Since they are made out of soapstone, which is relatively soft stone, the artists were able to carve their sculptures intricately. So this can be particularly in the jewelry of God, and that adore their temple wall. The Veshwar temple, that is Lord of Hoysalas, at the Halabid. So Halabid is one of the example. It's a site. Halabid in Karnataka was built in dark skit stone by the Hoysala king in 1150. So Hoysala temples are sometimes called as hybrid. That is Vesra. As the unique style seems neither completely Dravid nor Nagara, but somewhere in between. So they are easily distinguishable from other medieval temples by their highly original star-like ground plans and a profusion of decorative carvings. So this is a differentiating point to differentiate between the Hoysalas temple. So these temples basically comprise a shape like of a star or a stellate. Stellate is basically a star-like shape and with a very decorative item because those people carved their buildings or architecture with a soft stone, a soap stone. So it was easy for them to carve the things. So this is a differentiating feature from other temples. Now dedicated to Shiva. Now dedicated to Shiva as Natraj, the Halabid temple is a double building with a large hall for the mandap to facilitate music and dance. So a Nandi pavilion precedes each building. The tower of the temple here and at nearby Belur fell long ago. Belur is one of the other side, other than Halabid. Belur is the second site. Fell a long ago, and an idea of temples. So appearance can only be gleaned from their detailed miniature version flanking the entrances. So from the center square plan cut out angular projections create a star effect decorated with the most profuse carving of animals and deities. So intricate is the carving that is it is said, for instance, in the bottommost frieze, featuring a continuous procession of hundreds of elephants with their mahouts. No two elephants are in same pose. So this is also one interesting feature that there are so many animals, but the elephants, but they are not in a same position or same pose. This is a Natraj Halabid. Founded in 13.
Pardon, ma'am, can you repeat the Akka Mahadevi again? It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
From where?
Akka,
From where, ma'am?
Akka Mahadevi. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Akka
Okay.
Mahadevi.
But I haven't read Akka Mahadevi yet.
Can you repeat?
From where? Please point out.
I don't know.
Because I haven't read Akka Mahadevi yet.
Uh, you can annotate anywhere on the screen. Annotation is available. So wherever you found that particular keyword, you can simply annotate there. Means like you can simply mark it there so that she can read it from there.
Okay.
So which paragraph did you come across that word?
Last.
This paragraph?
I think the last page. I raised
Okay.
a hand, but you do not
Okay,
know.
okay. This page. Just a minute. Okay, that's all right. So we can do one thing. Okay, so we can find out that word. So can you please spell that word for me so that I can locate that word here?
I think you should read from that part. So I will continue further from there.
Right, right. So even I did not notice that word that she is saying. So we can find out it later. Okay, so let us move forward now. We hardly have
Sir,
5 minutes. So like 5 minutes, let us try to finish at least this part.
Akka Mahadevi temple in Badami.
Okay, Badami. So
To discuss.
Badami was okay.
Okay,
So
so
temple Badami.
we will see that thing, but let us finish the last paragraph first. Okay, this paragraph.
Found it. Okay. So, founded in 1336, the Vijayanagar, literally the city of victory, it is also known as city of victory, attracted a number of international travelers such as the Italian Niccolo di Conti and Portuguese Domingo Paes, Fernando Nunes and Duarte Barbosa, and the Afghan Abdul Razzaq, who have left vivid accounts of the city. So, in addition, various Sanskrit and Telugu work document the vibrant literary tradition of this kingdom. Architecturally, Vijayanagar synthesizes the centuries-old Dravid temple architecture with the Islamic style demonstrated by the neighboring Sultanate. Their sculptures too, although fundamentally derived from a consciously seeking to recreate Chola's ideals, occasionally shows the presence of foreigners. So their eclectic ruin from the late 15th and early 16th preserve a fascinating time in history, an age of wealth, exploration, and cultural fusion.
Okay, so that's all right. So till this time, what we have done is we have finished reading the Dravidian style of temple architecture. This was just a single reading. So we will go through the images again over here, and we will go through the important keywords that we came across during discussion of the Dravidian style of temple architecture. So, but the thing is, the discussion may get terminated, okay, shortly. So once the discussion gets terminated, okay, so we will reassemble again. But till then, let us do one thing. Let us try to find out the word that she was looking for. She is saying it is in Badami, right?
Sir, I found that it is on page number 86.
Okay, 86.
Yes, from there in the last para, in the southern part of Deccan.
Okay.
This might be that Badami temple. So I'm reading it from here.
Okay, Kailashnath Temple, Ellora.
Below that, below the Kailash.
This is temple at Badami.
Yes, sir.
So where is that word that she was looking for? Akka Mahadevi.
As I think it is not given in the book, but she might be read somewhere else.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So let us do one thing. Let us read this paragraph from here itself in the southern part of Deccan. We will just read one paragraph.
Hmm. So in the southern part of Deccan, that is the Rhine of Karnataka, is where some of the most experimental hybrid of Visara's architecture are to be found. So Pulakesin once established the early Western Chalukya kingdom when he secured the land around the Badami in 543. So the early Western Chalukyas ruled most of the Deccan till mid 18th, when they were superseded by Rashtrakut. So early Chalukyan activity also take a form of rock cut caves, while later activity is of a structural temple. So early Chalukya made their rock cut caves, and later on they developed and formed the structural temples, proper structural temples. The earliest is of probably of Ravanapadi. That is a rock cut caves. So that is of Ravanapadi caves at Aihole, which is known as for its distinctive sculpture style. So one of the most important sculpture at the site of Nataraja, surrounded by larger than the size of depictions of the Saptamatrikas, that is two Shivas left and four to Shiva's right. So basically it is of Shiva's, the main shrine is Shiva. So the figure are characterized by graceful, slim body, long oval face topped with extremely tall cylindrical crown, and shown to wear short dhotis marked by incised striations indicating pleating. So they are distinctly different from the contemporary Western Deccan or Vakataka style seen at the places such as Ponar and Ramtek.
Okay, so that's all right. So we have read this chapter. So we will do one thing. We will reassemble again when